From Alameda, California, the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network presents Flying High Over the Zone with the Zig Zag Man.
I am back, and you are flying high over the zone with me, the Zig Zag Man, in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco, where my guest used to watch Willie Mays touch 'em all. Mickey Joseph. Mickey, back to the mic. Comedian, actor, bon vivant, Renaissance man.
Yeah.
You've done it all.
I've done it all, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah, I know. We're all still doing it.
Ralph, you know what? I got cast in a commercial. I'm doing a Honda commercial on Saturday.
No kidding. A national thing?
Isn't that great? No,
is this national,
Northern
Mickey?
California. Northern California Honda.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's not
that
national, but it's...
Northern California.
It's huge for me, you know? I came back from Vegas, and I thought I was going to go to L.A. and apply myself there, but instead I decided out of necessity to come back to the Bay Area. You know, I'm taking care of my folks. And and I applied myself. I got an agent, and I just booked my first thing. So I'm very excited about it.
I am really excited to hear that. That's
thank you, Ralph.
That's good news because you're a hard worker, and you know there's a lot of comedians. You are a hard worker, and you put your ass into what you do. Tell me about the process of being a comedian from a work standpoint, not just getting up on stage, everybody claps and they like you and you're Mickey and you're cute and all that. What goes into it on a daily basis, or at least on a weekly basis, in preparation? Writing new stuff? How does it come to you?
You know, at this point in my life, what's going on is that I don't get as much stage time as I need because it's like anything else. It'll be like Steph Curry, you know, playing basketball but not being allowed to practice, you know, and just playing once a week or once every 2 weeks. I mean, there's just not enough. I take the dog down to the park down here at night, late at night, and I do my act for the dog.
Okay.
And he likes the jokes, but he's not, not a big laugher.
Right. He's
not
a big laugher.
So
bark.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not easy, but I do have gigs coming up, and I'm going to Florida for 3 nights. I have things working. I just can't get away for weeks on the road because I'm taking care of the folks here, you know.
Yeah, you know, to those that don't know, Mickey played the role of Joey Bishop in the Rat Pack in Vegas for years. What, 7, 8 years?
Oh, I did it for 9 years altogether, but I lived and performed in Vegas for 7 years.
Okay.
And the show was called The Rat Pack is Back, and we went off at 7, and for about 2 years, I had a second show that I did every night. It was called The Dirty Joke Show with Geechee Guy and Todd Paul. So I was a working cat in Vegas, man. I really was, and I enjoyed living there. I totally dug it. I mean, I met a lot of famous people and just had a good time, you know.
Well, a lot of people met Mickey Joseph too, so you got to look at it that way, you know.
Yes, they sure did. Ralph.
What do you miss about do you miss the routine at all of just, you know, always the same thing to do? Does that? No,
I'm still in the routine of being creative. I mean, I still like to write first thing in the morning. I'm constantly going over my jokes. They're all on cards, index cards, and they're being improved. And then I'd like to schedule other cats to write. You know, I like to get a comedian like the great John Hugazian to sit there and listen to my stuff and tell me what he thinks and help me out. You know, it's a collaboration at this point. But my act is strong right now, Ralph. I'll tell you that. I'm real happy with it, and I'm happy about the progress. I just wrote a routine about taking care of my parents that's working real well. And I got the bit about having the Italian pit bull, and I got a lot of new material, new routines that are coming out. You know, I want to record. I want to get recorded and go on some of these stand-up comedy services that they have, you know, where you can listen to a guy for 5 minutes. I understand they're all over the place.
Right.
I don't know how it works.
Consider doing podcasts yourself? Having a podcast show is kind of a cathartic thing and a way that Mickey Joseph can be known to the world?
It sounds like it's, I don't know, man. I feel like, you know, it's scary on the outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It is scary. You're always looking for a way back. You're always looking for a way back, Mick. You can, any day now you can crack. You'd be back where it's nice and safe with a warm cot.
Yeah. Oh, man.
3 meals a day. I admire the fact that you can rehab the way you've done over the years.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. You know, I am a hard worker when it comes to what I do on stage. That's for sure.
Are.
And you know, when I got back here, I said I wanted to get an agent, and so I applied to an agency here for acting, and they were warm and considerate towards me. And then I took a class. It was like 6 Monday nights in a row, and it was on auditioning and acting, and just some things I needed to work on, and it was great, and it paid off immediately. So I'm fortunate, man. I'm willing to do the work.
Yeah, well, you know, some people do the work and it doesn't pay off. There's got to be a lot of talent involved, and you have what I call likability on stage. Nobody walks away from a Mickey Joseph show and go, oh God, that was terrible. He offended me. This and the other thing. You love. Yeah. I mean, the voices, the cartoons, the way it is, and the fact that you're talking about on stage, your parents. We all go through this in life. That's part of it. You're getting to the common denominator of the audience, which is, you know, you grow up, people take care of you.
Yeah,
and you grow up, you take care of your kids, and then you have to go back. It's a cycle that everybody has. And if you're touching that commonality, Mickey, you're going to be. Yeah. That's stuff that goes to the heart, and that's what the business is all about. So.
Right, and you know, I had a misdirection at the beginning of it because I was writing jokes about how it was a bad thing that I'm taking care of my parents, but really it's a fucking beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, because you're
and so I've changed my approach to the routine.
Your kids see that, what you're doing, and they can't help but take care of you.
Yeah.
You instill that, and hey, let's face it. Am I right? It's down the road. And I also love the fact that you get a big kick out of your grandkids.
Yeah.
Tell me about them a little bit.
They live close by. I got 3 grandkids. My granddaughter Liliana will be 4 years old coming up here on March 30th. And then I have 2 grandsons born a week apart, and they're 7 months old. And
wow.
They're growing fast, man. It's great. It's great to see my family growing. You know, everybody's happy.
Nice, Mick. What would you have done differently, and what are you glad you did the same?
What I would have done differently? God, that's a rough question, man. I mean, I made mistakes, but they always seem to work out, Ralph. And I can't look back that way, you know, and say, I do have a few regrets in my life, but I can't really air them, you know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But what I've done right is,
more importantly, I guess,
like in The Godfather. Yeah, it is what I've done right. And like in The Godfather, you know, a man, you can't really be a man unless you spend time with your family, you know. And that's been something I've managed to do. That's something I've learned from my folks. You know, when I was a kid, man, I'm Croatian Italian, so my parents had these big parties, and they were these these Slavs who were out there singing Croatian songs, you know, and this is during the Cold War. All the neighbors must have been going, what the hell's going on over here, you know? But that's the way I grew up, in full of love and songs and people that didn't speak English.
And one of the people, we were talking off the air, part of your extended family is a former guest on my airwaves, and you're a baseball fan, former catcher, New York Yankees, Yogi Berra's backup, number 29, now batting number 29, Charlie Silveria, number 29.
Charlie, San Francisco native, I believe.
Yeah, he was a terrific interview for me and a big thrill to have me. Charlie Silveria played on 5 consecutive New York Yankee championships from 1949 to 1953, and that was pretty cool as a baseball fan, talking to him and interviewing him as a baseball fan since I'm a kid. You have stories about being a Giant fan growing up.
Well, absolutely, but first let me say I do have a memory about that, but first let me say one thing about Charlie Silveria. When I was a child, we would pass around those championship rings. You know, he would take it off his hand and let us all try it on. You know, and that was part of it, and it was very, very fucking special. You know, but no, I have a story about Bobby Bonds and Jimmy Davenport. There was a golf tournament at South Shore Lake Tahoe, and they wanted a comedian. There was no money paid. No money. The thing was, you got to play in the tournament. And I was a golfer. I wasn't a great golfer, but you know, I figure I could hit the ball pretty good. And the other part of it was you got a limo ride with Bobby Bonds and Jimmy Davenport, all the way to Lake Tahoe, and then all the way back. Okay? And these guys were my they were my childhood heroes pretty much. I mean, Bobby Bonds, there was a guy. And Jimmy Davenport, who not only lived right down the street, he passed away recently, but he was the autograph that was in my mitt. You know how they always have a guy's name burned in your mitt?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sitting there in a limo for 8 hours up and back to the lake with these guys. We told every joke. Jimmy was very quiet, man. He chewed tobacco and he spit into a cup almost the entire ride up there.
Okay.
And
from Alabama?
From Alabama, and Bobby was a guy that wanted to be able to tell a joke, but every time it was wrong, a little bit wrong, you know. And it was funny. It was very funny. But I told him almost every joke I knew. And I think he passed away about a year later.
Humor.
But they told me, Bobby goes up, we're going to win this golf tournament, me and Jimmy. And I said, really? And sure enough, they won it, man.
Oh, wow. Confident.
It was amazing. Now here's the funny thing. Those guys,
they played golf with Lon Simmons for years.
Oh, yeah.
Hank Sauer. They were inseparable friends. And Jimmy Davenport was loved by everybody, absolutely adored by everybody that knew him. They called him Peanut, and just a great guy. And I had privilege. I do a number of podcast shows. One of them is Bay Area Baseball, Past, Present, and Future. And my co-host is Tim Haller, who grew up. Yes. Tom Haller's kid grew up right across the street from Jimmy Davenport. Has wonderful stories to tell on shows that we've done about Bonds Sr. and Jimmy Davenport and McCovey. And so I'd like you to guest on that show too every now and again.
Let me tell you what happened though at this gig, right? Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we play the golf tournaments, and then after dinner I go on and I do my stand-up comedy act, and I do very well. And then after the show, Bobby says to me, as everybody's kind of leaving, Bobby looks at me and says, "Don't forget, we got to get up early and get into that limo tomorrow because we got to go to the game. It was the championship series that the Giants were in, and Bobby and Barry was in the game, right?
Right.
And so he goes, we got to get back to the game. And I said, you mean we got to get back to the game? You know, gesturing me and him. And he goes, no, we got to get back to the game, gesturing him and Jimmy.
Okay.
Right. And so then
you knew you were the court jester, but it can only go that so far.
Yeah, the party goes on a little bit further, right? And I get on the elevator, Bobby gets on the elevator, and I'm walking by, and as the door's closing, he reaches out and he goes, "Don't forget that limo tomorrow morning, 7:00, man, because we got to get back to the game." And I said, "Again, you mean we got to get back to the game?" And he goes, "No, we got to get back to the game."
And he laughed, I'll bet. He knew.
And he laughed, and then we're driving in the limo, and we stop in Davis at a McDonald's in a stretch limo. And I'm getting out of a stretch limo with two baseball Hall of Famers. And it was surreal. And we go in, and we order, and Bobby says, "It's on me, man. Don't worry. I got it." And so we order our McDonald's, right? And the guy says, "Is this for here or to go?" And Bobby looks right at me, and he goes, "I guess we'll take it to go because we got to get to the game." And I looked at him again, and I said, "You mean we got to get to the game?" And he just shakes his head. Now, it would have been nice if that guy would have took me to the game. You know what I mean? I mean, they were right there.
Well, that
was fun.
Right.
That was a memorable trip. Believe me. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, 8 hours in the back of the limo with these cats.
I'm sure when you run out of jokes and you run out of baseball stories, you talk real life a little bit too.
Yes, absolutely. And he was suffering at the time. He was already diagnosed. You know, it was tough,
right.
Man.
Yeah,
it was tough. It was tough to.
Did he? I understand he took it well, and but it's got to be not easy for anybody. Mortality is a motherfucker. Let me tell you.
Yeah. No
and
shit.
the older I get, I'm 69 years old, and this is getting ridiculous. We all had a January, February of craziness with rock stars and celebrities and folks dying in groves.
Yeah.
And the
yeah.
Well.
Yeah, well, it's nice. Longevity has its place, as Dr. King said.
Yes, it certainly does.
What you got That's an outside quote right there, motherfucker.
Yeah, this is good segue. What you got coming up, if you got anything, up, you don't know. Because we don't know. We are all day to day, as Bobby and Jimmy would have said. Rest both of their souls. If you're lucky enough to do your next gig, will you come back if I'm lucky enough to still be here to tell me about it? See, that's one thing about it. We're all in it together. This is none of us gonna make it all the way down the road.
I do have some gigs on my calendar. Would you like to hear them?
I would. That's why you're here.
March 16th. That's a Wednesday night at the Bazaar Cafe in San Francisco. Very nice little club. Yeah. And then there's this cool little club on the 25th of March in the Haight, and that's Good Friday, and that's called Second Act. It's in the Haight. It's on Haight Street. Second Act. And then I'm doing Ukiah on the 19th of March, which happens to be my father's 93rd birthday. And then I'm doing Las Positas Winery, headlining out there on April 8th. And then I'm going up to Volcano on the 21st of April. I got the Crow's Nest in Santa Cruz on the 24th of April. And then I fly to Florida, Ralph, for 3 nights.
Well, and you've been working with Fred Reiss, who is also on the comeback trail.
Yes, I love Fred, man.
Is Fred? He's been a guest on this show a number of times. He's a great guy. He is. I am so happy that he made it through his ordeal with
absolutely
the Big C,
yes.
and he made it through with grace, and he's just an inspiring guy to a lot of us who are just humans and trying to get through it. I mean, he gets up on stage, he talks about his life, and that's what it's
not only that, but his jokes are really good, man. He really gets good laughs, with all that stuff. And not only that, he's a mentor to me, He'll watch me do my act, and he'll make suggestions, and I've taken every suggestion that he's ever made, man.
Yeah, he's got it going. He had the funniest line. He told me on the radio once. We're on these airs. We're talking, and he says, "I'm from New Jersey. My middle finger has carpal tunnel
syndrome." That's a great joke.
Great Fred Reiss line.
Yeah, that's funny. Come on, girl.
Yeah.
Come on.
I always said that
funny, man.
Fred tried when he started. He doesn't do it anymore. He started as an insult comic, and
not actually. He started with. I was there, man. He started with jokes. He started with jokes about his childhood. I used to play dodgeball and got hit by a Dodge. That was like his big joke. and he depended on getting heckled. His jokes were not that great, and he was a smart ass from New Jersey. So out here, he got heckled every fucking night. Somebody would always shout something out, and then he evolved into
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah, he just took it because a way of playing with the audience and getting. Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah, he's like, I got hit by a Dodge, and then somebody would say something, and he goes, "What are you doing here tonight? No rats to shoot at the dump." And that's what everybody wanted to hear, that he'd get these big laughs by insulting people, Oh, fuck, man. I was there for that, dude. That was at the Emerson Street Bar and Grill, Emerson Street in Palo Alto.
Oh, I remember Emerson's very well.
That's where we all cut our teeth, man. And that audience, that was a weekly crowd.
I came in around the time that Becky Kennedy did Emerson's back then.
Right.
It was a good time. It was the early 80s, and
yes,
life was different.
Mid-80s. Yeah, I would love to do a reunion show.
The spirit of it all, I think, was HIV in San Francisco. I mean, it carried over it put a wall on the city and carried over into comedy. I mean, that's just off the top of my head. That was one of the things that made it all go down. It wasn't the HIV itself. It was the way the government covered everything up, did no research, could give a fiddler's fuck, and made it into a genocide against blacks, against needle users, against gays.
Gee, Ralph, I hope they're not listening.
The government, you mean?
I have nothing to do with Ralph's commentary.
Oh, that's just off the top of my head. That's why Flying High Over the Zone.
I'm kidding you, man. You know what, Ralph? I love the way you think, brother. That's for sure.
Okay,
that's
that's
a pure reality, man. I love the way you think.
Thank you. I very much appreciate
You're welcome.
that. That's a compliment because I know it comes off a little strange to folks, and putting it out there comes off a little strange. Really putting it out there comes off strange. I understand that, and
So what's your quick? Yeah.
It limits.
What's your take on the Donald Trump thing, man?
I think it's just basically it's the same discontent with the system that makes Bernie Sanders possible. The difference is that Bernie Sanders is real and Trump is an illusion. I think the Republican Party will, before it's over, they'll have to come. Romney will come out of the woodwork and say, "Listen, this is crazy." we can't run this guy. It's a joke. And I think the big problem, there's more of a divide between Bernie and Hillary than there is between Hillary and Trump. The whole system is fucked, and the only thing that can change it is Bernie to take money from the really big folks who deserve to have the money. They made it. That's really cool. But they need to be taxed. They need to be taxed appropriately like they used to be.
Of course.
So that there's a middle class. There's no middle class. The working poor is working and poor at the same time. That's the craziness. If I were going through it and I were trying to raise a family and working 40 hours a week and not being able to do that, if you have the work ethic to get up every day, working 40 is like putting in 60 when you with the commute time. And I admire Johnny Lunchbucket. That's this country is built on unions and all that. And I hope Nancy Reagan can spin Ronnie around in that grave a little bit now that she's gone, because he broke the spirit of this country with union, what he did with the air traffic controllers and all of it. It's been miserable. We gotta elect Bernie. We gotta make sure that Bernie goes. This is a key day, so I'm a little nervous from that standpoint. The Michigan primaries or whatever it is, to voting on Tuesday. But
we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Hey, thank you for coming by. You're terrific, as usual.
My pleasure, bro.
Okay,
Amy,
and
thanks for letting me plug my shit too. I appreciate that.
Well, I love having you, because remember, I told you this once before, when a new person breaks into comedy, there are people that are either nice to them or not nice to them. People nice to new people or not nice to new people. Some people are jealous of new people, are scared that, this guy might come along and take a gig away from me, or this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
You are not that. You, Michael Meehan, Pritchard, all these people when I started were just so frickin' nice. I almost tear up, because no matter what age you are, when you start and you're an entertainer, when you're an entertainer in the first place, a comedian especially, you're neurotic. To put yourself through what it takes to stand on stage till you get good at it, you gotta be something nuts. So anybody that can help a cuckoo along the way, that's how I so thanks for those days. I appreciate your nice words. 30 to 25, 28 years ago now.
Yeah.
And remember,
brother.
Flies. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to end the segment. I'll end it
Don't
the
be a
same way
stranger,
I
man.
end.
Listen, you contacted me today and said, would you like to do it? And here we are. So don't be a stranger, bro. I'm glad to talk to you.
Beautiful. I really appreciate that.
Okay, buddy.
Thanks, Mick. I'll end the episode. You don't have to stick around for it, because it's somewhat controversial. I want everybody out there, keep your wet, keep your humor dry, keep your kids out of military recruiting stations, and off the laps of clerics that wear dresses, for the most part. Not everybody, of course. 1,000 apples spoils the whole bunch. 1,000,000 apples, but I don't know. I don't know how that works. But I do know that if your kid is I won't even get into it. Just don't take your kid there. That's not. Don't leave him alone anywhere like that.
It's dark.
And that's all I could do is suggest, because a lot of people are going to go, that's not enough. Why does he say things like that? What an asshole. He killed Christ.
Right.
No, that was another Jew. No, it wasn't even Jews. It was Russian soldiers. Fooled everybody. Love you all. Come back and hear us.
Right on.
All right.